and cover.
Be sure and remember what Bert the Turtle just did, friends, because every one of us must remember to do the same thing. That's what this film is all about. Duck and cover. Paul and Patty know this. No matter where they go or what they do, they always try to remember what to do if the atom bomb explodes right then. It's a bomb. Duck and cover. Sundays, holidays, vacation time, we must be ready every day, all the time, to do the right thing if the atomic bomb explodes. Duck and cover. That's the first thing to do. Duck and cover. First, you duck. And then, you cover. You duck and cover tight. Duck and cover under the table. It's a bomb. Duck and cover.
He did what we all must learn to do. You and you and you and you. Duck and cover.
What up, family? Coming at you. Figured just put together some quick info on this E.M.P thing. Just going around social media a little bit. Um, just figured I'd look into it, share some info. I ended up receiving a couple of messages with this young lady's video attached. And first off, I just want to say, I'm not about to bash the sister. What she did do, or what I could hear, was a lot of concern in her voice. So, sometimes people, when they fearful or, um, just showing concern about a situation, they'd clam up and not do anything. So, at the very least, I would give her some props for even making a video and sharing her concerns. So, but anyway, what I did notice in her video or in her comments is a couple of things that made me, of course, ask some questions. And then she cited the Department of Defense as a source for, this E.M.P event that's supposed to take place in the next couple of days. So what I decided to do is, I noticed she got like 1 million views, so I was like, well, let me just look into it. I mean, even though I really wasn't believing it, but anyway, so no, I just wanted to share some of the things that caused me to question, and then some of the information I found, and just maybe even a reason for why. Because I don't necessarily think, well, I don't think like she's some type of plant that's trying to scare people or, spread propaganda. So, but she just was repeating information that she had overheard or heard or seen through some videos, probably some little web sites. They've been posting this too. So anyway, my first thought was, well, let me at least look exactly into what a EMP is. So, just surfing the web, I just bumped into something that kind of summarized a lot of the stuff I was seeing. So I just wanted to share that. As you can see that there, it says EMPs are rapid invisible bursts of electromagnetic energy. They occur naturally in nature during a lightning strike and hence cause electrical disruptions nearby. And so then you can keep reading, but then it says the one that would affect the power grids or the electrical devices, telephones, and stuff that she kind of warning you about, that would come from a nuclear explosion. So, in saying that, as you can see, it kind of gives a little breakdown of what an EMP is, how it occurred, um, in the process of what happens to electrical devices when a EMP um, occurs. So anyway, as I was scrolling, and you can see it. It kind of just says when the radiation passes through a phone or a computer, The device catches this powerful pulse that generates a rogue current of electricity that moves through the device circuits and can destroy them. So, that's pretty much, what we already kind of heard for those that's kind of hip to it. But then my next question, is like, okay, well, we know what that'll do on the body. I mean, on electrical devices, but what would it do on the body coming from like a some type of nuclear bomb or something, along that lines. And so what I bumped into, I seen a little site. It says survivallife.com, but they kind of summarize also some of the stuff that I had kind of read. But what they state is our bodies can withstand 100 kilovolt per meter EMP spike from a nuclear bomb. So it takes a much larger spike to cause a noticeable effect on the body. So then it goes into talking about some experiments were done with 25 kilovolts on individuals, but no effect was really seen. And then it also, but the key thing that I noticed out of this article is that a small nuclear weapon generates 100 kilovolt per meter. So even the EMP from such a terrorist nuclear detonation wouldn't hurt you. So now, after looking into it a little bit, it kind of, verified what I thought, like, okay, some propaganda that's getting spread around. And then, they do things in cycles. So because they do things in cycles, I had to reverse and go back to history. And so, family, I happen to also notice this is kind of why I attached that little commercial, is because this system, this government that we uh, are living in, the United States government, and probably even like some of them European nations. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if all of the nations, of course, they use the propaganda tool to push their agenda, get the population to, fall in line. But anyway, um, in the 1950s, maybe 1950, it was a Cold War threat or a fear of Russia dropping a atomic bomb on Americans. So they pulled that up, and then as you can see, if you kind of remember, it was constantly propaganda pushed by television and Hollywood that painted America as the good guys and Russia as the bad guys. So in this situation with this EMP, um, they mentioned the ruler or the president or whatever he's called over in North Korea. They mentioned him and that he threatened to use a nuclear weapon to generate a EMP over maybe some part of North America. I don't really know the exact part, but when they do, when they mention things like this, a lot of times it's propaganda. Well, I would say all of the time. And then what will follow is um, some type of event that will rally the public's sentiment to go to war with whoever this propaganda is kind of geared towards at the minute. So, just checking through history, you can kind of see that repeating itself. But I wasn't about to get no long, explanation of no EMPs. But I would even ask like, what would, and then hold on, wait, let me be right with this because the link to the Department of Defense for those that haven't looked, it's supposed to be an exercise that goes on, and I believe that this exercise is testing radios, short wave radios, the effect of it. I don't even know exactly if they doing an exercise at that same period of time, but I don't, it's like Y2K and all of that. They get you to feel a certain type of way, play with your emotions, get you up and down, with your feelings, and when that happens, you're more subject to be hypnotized. Like for those that study psychology, so they play these little games. They get your attention focused in one direction while they do, you know, God knows. So just keep that in mind and just watch how if you're blessed enough to get old enough, they say you'll see things repeating. So, and that's because, like I was saying, things work in cycles, and this government is understanding that, and they will exploit that. And so, just don't. And I want to say also, stay prepared. Of course, that's goes into self preservation. So, of course, that's another reason why I wouldn't bash the sister, Mrs. or Miss McBride. I'm not for sure either one, but you know, because you gotta stay prepared. You gotta try to be prepared for any and every situation, especially here in the as they say, the wilderness of North America. But fam, I just wanted to put together a couple of little pieces of information as far as what an EMP is, how it affects the body, and what could possibly be a motive for why these websites, spreading this. I don't know if they government based, if we end up seeing more type of things involving an EMP on television in Hollywood. I mean, they did it, like I said, with Russia. So, I think it's supposed to be a couple movies out now that kind of got some scenarios where maybe an EMP. I definitely know, like, I think that was War of the Worlds. They kind of disabled all of the electronics through some type of EMP. So, Hollywood, they'll grab hold of stuff and, help further the propaganda. But anyway, I wouldn't, be too concerned about EMP waves more than I would the road police or fluoridated water or immunizations that contain mouse brains and stuff like that. I would be more concerned about that than an actual EMP. I understand, but it does kind of give you a quick heads up of like how prepared are you for any type of situation that could be close to this. So generators, water supplies, uh, food. Of course, family get that all at all costs. Anyway, but so that's really all I had to put together. But I want to keep it simple. They real good at spreading fear. Um, and that's about it, family. Stay woke, wide awake, and that's about it. Peace.
Therefore, propaganda is vastly more important in democratic societies.
In recognizing a communist, physical appearance counts for nothing. If he openly declares himself to be a communist, we take his word for it. If a person consistently reads and advocates the views expressed in a communist publication, he may be a communist. If a person supports organizations which reflect communist teachings, or organizations labeled communist by the Department of Justice, she may be a communist. If a person defends the activities of communist nations while consistently attacking the domestic and foreign policy of the United States, she may be a communist. If a person does all these things over a period of time, he must be a communist. But there are other communists who don't show their real faces, who work more silently